I hope you've got your running shoes on today because we got a lot of ground to cover here on For Your Home. Lots of exciting stuff happening. We have new cabinets, custom furniture, going to be selecting out some paint colors, the new pergola is being built, and we're working in the front yard. It's all coming up next right here on For Your Home. Renovation projects just seem to build up steam as they get closer to completion. We started working on this house just 2 or 3 months ago, and already it's really taking shape. Now, today we're going to be taking a look at our new cabinets, the new pergola that's going up. You know, it's so much fun to see your designs and your ideas really take on life. I got together with Alicia and the cabinet installers a few days ago. Take a look at that entire process. This is Alicia, and she's with Forever Cabinets, and she has been working closely with Janine Devaney, our project designer, and myself to get all the beautiful custom cabinetry done for this house. And notice I'm just coveting this cabinet. This is so beautiful, Alicia. This is going to go in the master bathroom and the water closet. And we were just talking about it's made for linens, but I would be using this for my fine lingerie and everything. It's so beautiful.
Right, beautiful drawer storage below and then your linen storage above.
Well, you were telling me that this is walnut.
Right.
And when we first started talking, you kept saying to me, I really wish you would consider using walnut. And I was like, oh, I don't know. And I'm so glad that I listened to you. Now, everything is fitting beautifully. There's a little issue, I understand, from the carpenters this morning of trying to get this into the doorway. We might have to do a little creative figuring around because it is all one piece, unlike box cabinets that would be cut in half.
Right, exactly.
It's all one beautiful piece that's going to go in there. The other thing, though, is my issue. The kitchen cabinets, when you and I went through the designs, we talked about the crown molding, and when Larry and his crew were trying to install them, they asked me, what's going to go on the top of it here? I've kind of forgotten what you and I planned, so can we go check that out?
You betcha.
All right,
you betcha. Let's head that way.
All right. Hey, Larry. How you doing?
Hi, guys. How are you?
Good, good. Larry, this is Alicia, and she's the manufacturer of our cabinets. This is
Alicia.
Larry. He's
Hi,
our
Larry.
installer.
Nice to meet you.
And we kind of have a problem that's our fault. When I gave you the measurement of the height of the ceiling, I told you it was 106.
Okay.
And we actually have 107 inches.
Okay.
All right, so we're dealing with an extra inch, and not being a cabinet person, I asked Larry, I said, can't we just shove them up an inch?
And aesthetically, we like to keep everything at the same height.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so what can we do to adjust that?
So we've got the 5-pon going around the top, correct?
The molding, the crown molding,
And we're planning on painting that the same color as the
Yeah,
cabinets.
we hope you will, because it'll make it look just really great.
I think we sure can do that. I'm thinking about maybe we can put in a 1x around the top, just a flat board to help close in that gap. I think it'll still keep with the clean line look of the kitchen, kind of bring out some of the elements in the door style also. If that's a reasonable solution for you guys, I think it'll work really nicely here.
Well, I like when you layer some molding onto it, as long as it can stay clean line. What do you think about that,
It'll
Larry?
give it a good contemporary look the way we've got going now.
Okay, and so we do that all the way around the top part, the
Right.
refrigerator area, and this as well.
Right.
And then the crown molding will just go on top of that.
Exactly.
Okay. Do you see any issues with that at all?
I think it'll be a good solution.
Okay, so can you get some measurements together for her?
Absolutely. I'll
Great,
get them to
great.
you
Yeah,
Before
you
we get
can-
out of here.
Sounds good. And then, did you have a question for me on the Jack
Yeah,
and Jill bath?
we have a small issue in the master
Okay.
bathroom.
Should we go take a
All
look?
right, I'm
at
going
it?
to let you guys go do that, and I've got some other guys that have got big decisions that have to be made.
Okay, sounds great. Thanks, Vicki.
Sometimes it takes a little grease and a whole lot of talent to install cabinets. I was fascinated by the skill Larry and his crew exhibited while installing the hood for the range. It also takes a cabinet shop that knows what they're doing to build a product that fits this beautifully. I'm always amazed by great craftsmanship. Without moldings, the house is really just a series of boring boxes. This is Jeff Hawk, and he's with 5-pon. He knows a lot about moldings and the way that they can really improve the looks of our rooms, right?
Yes, Vicki, it's good to be here today with you.
Well, you know, it's a lot of fun to be able to take a plain wall like we have in this dining room and dress it up with moldings. Now, last season we were doing my house and we worked with your product, and we used it though on the exterior on our porch. Now, on the exterior, I know the benefits are that it doesn't rot and it's really easy to work with, takes paint great. But out on the inside, what are the real benefits for a contractor and a designer when they're working with it?
Well, it's wonderful that you said that because it is a low maintenance product. It comes pre-primed. You use all your standard woodworking tools to do your cuts and
just a regular circular saws, your drills, jigs,
correct.
everything you'd normally use?
It's very similar to working with white pine.
Well, you know, in this house, I'm going for something that is not as ornate because we're working with contemporary design principles on this house. And this is your flat stock that we used here on this particular application for the judge's paneling in this room. And it's just smooth, flat, and that's what we wanted, clean lines to it. I think it's going to turn out great.
I love what you've done here because flat stock, a lot of people really don't have the imagination, but you are showing them really, truly that with a little bit of imagination, you can do a variety of things from your judge's panel here to your coffered ceiling. Really looks terrific.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited about it. And, you know, once it gets all painted, it's going to look like it's wood all the way down at a fraction of the cost of what it would be to have custom paneling made. So I think it's a great product. Now, I'm very excited about what's going on here in this house, and I can't wait to see everything turn out. I've got some great details planned for every single room in this house. A few days ago, I met with my good friend, one of my favorite craftspeople, to put my plans for the living room in action. Take a look. Last season, we took a great trip up to Asheville, North Carolina to visit the renovation project going on at the Grove Park Inn. During that trip, we met a lot of talented folks, but nobody really stole my creative soul quite like my next guest. This is Rob. How you doing, darling?
I'm doing great. How are you, Vicki?
Oh, I'm doing really good. Rob is a master furniture maker, and he has created some incredible arts and crafts pieces to go in the Grove Park Inn. Are you still working on that project?
Yes, we have a lot of work. We're finishing up the big 3-year project that we had of renovating it for the Centennial. Now we're working on new projects for 2015.
Well, you know, it just keeps going on, and that's a good thing, right?
Yes, it does. It's good.
We like all that work. Well, when this project came along, I knew that I had to have something really special for this wall. And I knew that Rob would be my guy if I'd get lucky enough to snag him to work on the project. So thank you so much for coming
My pleasure.
on board.
Thank you.
You know, you saw that we've got a real theme going here as a contemporary motif with this house. And one of your specialties is arts and crafts.
Right.
A lot of people are trying to distinguish of what is the difference between arts and crafts and contemporary, and they're very fine, but there are some little details. What are those?
They're a lot similar because of their straight, clean lines, but arts and crafts has more of the exposed joinery with the solid woods, where you usually don't have that with contemporary. You get into more of the wood veneers, different colors and stuff like that.
Okay, so in this particular piece, we want it to be contemporary.
Right.
And we want it to tie in with some other elements of the house.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to tie it in. I saw your floor sample in the other room. We're going to do
How
something
you like
to
that
tie
gray
in.
floor?
The
That's a
gray
little
floor looks
different.
great. Yes, definitely. We'll keep that in mind, as well as it's going to be sitting next to a black baby grand.
I know, you think that's a pretty good idea too. These big windows just screamed, gotta have a
Right.
piano here, right? So this wall is going to be the TV wall.
Okay.
And it has to really carry its own weight and really make its own statement and not be overshadowed by the piano.
Okay.
Not much of a task, right? But that side has got a fireplace and the arches and the big window, so everything's got it going on. Plus, as you commented, the entrance to the home is right here.
Right.
So, is your brain already swimming around with ideas?
It definitely is. It's got some ideas. We'll go back to the drawing table and see what we come up with.
Okay, well, I'm going to let you take your sketches or take your measurements and then start with your sketches. I can't wait to see what you come up with, and you know, I know it's going to be fabulous because everything you do is fabulous.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Rob. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I have some of the best friends in the whole wide world. When I have a project, they come running to give me help. This is Jennifer, and she's been a friend of mine for a number of years and has added her magic to so many of my projects. I love everything that you do.
Good.
She's helped on several charity houses with me. She did the faux finishing in my house last season. You may remember those great projects. Yeah. And I'm so glad you could join us on this one. This is going to be fun. This is contemporary.
This is, and a lot of times people don't think of faux finishing when you say contemporary. But with the right combination of pattern and product, you can really get a nice, beautiful look that warms up a room.
Yeah, and if you're a really talented decorative
Oh, yeah.
painter,
The talent, yes.
that's what really makes it work, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, well, the dining room here, I mean, I'm going to use faux finishing in at least 2 rooms.
All right.
Okay. the top half of the dining room here because we have the judges paneling below.
Which I love.
And isn't that nice? It turned out really nice. We're going to do that, and then in the powder room, because I always think powder rooms are really where you want to add some drama.
Yeah, for sure.
So those two spaces. So what did you bring?
All right, so when you said contemporary, metallic often comes to mind, and
Right.
then also geometric patterns. So I've got something along these lines. You can add or not have to add things like the little Swarovski crystals everywhere, and you can also, of course, change the colors. Everything is customized. So if these colors aren't quite right, we can do the same sort of thing in your colors.
Okay, and so this is a stencil?
This is a
Piece of
stencil,
creative
and
resin?
yeah, with foils below it, and the pattern is done in 2 tones of plaster.
Well, I really do love the crystals because
Mm-hmm.
we are going to have crystal chandeliers in here. A lot of people, that's another thing. You don't think you can use crystal in contemporary?
Yeah.
Hang on till you see the lights that are going in this house. So I like the crystal idea. This color's way too dark
It
for me
is.
though, way too dark.
Yeah.
But I do like the geometrics.
Okay, last season we did the bathroom with the striae.
Yeah, we turned it like, we had it going sideways,
Sideways.
but with the big bands across it, and I love that. I want to tell you, every time people use that powder room, they come out going, love the
Simple finish, that
walls.
turned out just beautiful. It did.
You know, and I like the geometric. I do like the texture. What is this in here, though?
That's actually glass beads that are suspended in a clear particle. So it really gives it a shimmer.
Okay, well, let's keep this idea out.
That's a
The
thought.
colors aren't right, but let's keep
Okay.
the deal. Okay.
All right, good.
Lighter stuff. Let's go lighter. What you got?
All right, if you want to go something a little more solid, a 2-tone, sort of a glaze mushed together, that's always a beautiful finish. And
I
this
love
has
your
got a metallic to
terminology,
it.
Mush together.
Right,
Yeah. Okay, so this, I like this. I do like this. It's a metallic, and it reads as a soft, kind of a cloud look.
It does.
I like
It
that
does. So
idea.
that could really work
All right.
well. This is really
Ooh,
beautiful on ceilings
This is
too.
shiny. This is
Super
fancy.
shiny, yeah. In a small space, actually, that could be kind of cool, or it might be overboard.
Okay, so would you, if you did a design like this or any kind of design, would you just keep that like right here above the tray?
You could do it anywhere you wanted, right above there, or coming down
above
from the top, or
Or could you go really big?
You could go really big, which would be beautiful in a contemporary
that's one of the
space.
things too in contemporary is to go
Big,
large.
yeah.
Go large with your look.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's nice. That might work. Oh,
Circles?
loving.
Yep,
Loving.
metallic behind, even more metallic on top. This is a actual aluminum, so it really has a nice glisten to it.
Well, I know that you actually opened my email and you opened the JPEGs because you saw the chandeliers
Yeah.
that are going in here. The sconces and the chandeliers that are going to go in here, you're going to love these. They have little circles on them,
Yeah.
on these shades that show through when you turn on the light. And then the crystal, that's the reason we're looking for this glitzy kind of look. If we were to do the circles, now those circles are more contained and more, uniform. But if we were to do this, I think, and subtle, can we go light? I mean, I can't use the lavender. I love it, but I
Right.
can't use the lavender.
No.
What could we go in here? Could we go more of a gray?
Any of the gray neutral tones that you're going with in the rest of the house, I can customize.
Can you still keep it metallic
Metallic,
back
just
here?
like that, yep, same
And then I
product.
like this silver though. I don't want it to be too harsh. I like the platinum kind of silver here. So this would be a great option for me.
Yep,
All
I'll
right,
take
I
those
like that.
the tones
Let's
in the
usually
house.
keep them at the
and-
last because I'm going to end up wanting that one,
I
right?
know.
And then this though is beautiful. That is so pretty.
That's kind of an all over.
How is
You
this
can't go
done?
wrong with that.
How's
There's a
this
color
done?
behind. Really, the way that this is done is strange because it looks
Here
like
comes
there's.
the secrets.
I know.
Here comes
It looks like there's a color behind it. There's not a color behind it. This has got little particles inside of it. They burst and they make this kind of tan color. So to customize
Get
this
out
to
of
your, I know.
Dodge.
So to customize it to yours, we'd have to play with it a little bit, but it can be done. There's a pearl coating on top of it too, so it changes all of the background colors. This is actually done on a white
Okay, most of my
background.
viewers have trouble even picking out the right color of tan.
I
Now
know.
you're going to tell them their paint's going to explode and turn into
Yes.
other colors, right?
So yeah, don't try this at home.
Okay, I love this and I love the texture. I did like this that you did in the bathroom, but because you already did this in my house and I
Yeah.
want this house to be different, I'm going to say let's do this in the powder room.
Good.
And
I
I want
like
to
it.
see it explode. If nothing else, if I wasn't sold on this idea before, I am now. And I want to do this in the dining room, but would you mind making me a sample board up so
Yep.
it's like
I
a
will-
little grayer color?
Order the product in your colors and get on that.
All right, well, I hope you join us next time because Jennifer's going to be back doing great finishes and you're going to get to see some of maybe exploding paint.
You never know.
All right. Well, before you leave, I got to meet with Janine about the fireplace design. So before you leave, be sure you show these to Janine
All right.
and get her stamp of approval.
Great, I
All
think we
right.
got it.
Thanks, darling.
Thanks.
Hey, Janine.
Well, hi, Vicki. It's good to see you again.
It's great to see you. You know, Janine is the architectural designer on this project, and she's also the one that's responsible for the fabulous renovations on my house last season. I love that house.
Oh, thank you very much. It was very successful. We actually won a whole house renovation award from the Home Builder Association here locally.
Well, you know, it's not all about winning, but you know what? It's really nice to know that other people love the work that you do, and really validates it, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Well, on this particular project, and all the projects that I've worked with Janine with over the years, is my job's pretty easy. I'm out here in the field on a daily basis, and I see a problem. I pick up the phone and I call Janine and go, help.
Well, so what was this problem about?
Well, this problem was something that we didn't know. This problem was about the fireplace. You know, when you and I started out with this house, we knew that the changes were going to put the coffers on the ceiling off center. That we were prepared
this
for.
whole room was off-center. We had traffic routes, we have windows, we have doorways, every place. So there was no way to get any symmetry on the ceiling. So we said,
The heck
oh
with
well,
that.
and we just threw the whole coffer system on a diagonal.
I
45.
love it. I love it, and I think it's much more contemporary looking too than the traditional coffers would be, and putting it on an angle. So sometimes, you know, like you always say, when you have lemons, make lemonade.
Oh,
you know?
and we know our plans are right, but the fireplace was built about 3.5 inches off center on this wall.
Yeah, can you imagine that? So who's off is actually the brick mason, because the chimney is in the center of the room, but he didn't build a firebox in the center. So here's the mastermind of doing it. So what'd you come up with here?
Well, I've got about 5 different ideas here. This first one is kind of interesting. It's almost like a starburst of energy starting in this corner, and it's concentrically growing the fireplace, getting...
So this is smaller on this side than these are over here.
Yes, and
Okay.
also wider on top. You know, another thing that we are going to have to address is probably the surround around this fireplace is not to code, so we're needing more fire-rated material around this fireplace.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is another solution. I started with some designs to weight this right-hand side.
The bigger side.
The bigger side. And that would allow artwork or accessories to be asymmetrical as well. So that's kind of creating a kind of a cubistic approach here with layers and mantles.
Well, I plan to put sconces on here, a pair of sconces, but of course that can change, you know, but
Well,
I think that it would look kind of funny with one on one side, don't you?
Well, that's good, because guess what? I have one here that has two sconces. And I think you do have a pair of dynamic sconces, and I'd love to get them out here and look at them and hold them up. But what I'm showing here is it creates symmetry out of the asymmetrical approach that we have here.
Okay, now I like that. I like that a lot. Give me a piece of
Okay,
tape there,
here we go.
Janine. Let me try that.
Okay.
All right. So let's put it up here, because it's always like walk away from it. What else have you got? Might be a
Well, and then this
possibility.
one could actually allow you to have maybe an accessory up on that pedestal.
Okay, so we could put a sculpture or something.
If we made it deep enough.
All right, so we'll go this way, and then we'll check on code about the surround area here with Josh and Kyle, and I think we solved the problem.
Sounds great.
Yeah, thank you. So if you got a problem at your house, don't let it get you down. And even if you don't have a great friend like I do to help you out, start looking at those books, go online, you're gonna find a lot of great ideas,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you.
You know, interior projects, they have their challenges, as you've seen today, but one of the things that we don't have to contend with is the weather. You know, this pergola is absolutely awesome, but that fast little spring shower that just rolled through here, it sent my crew scurrying into the garage, higher ground. You know, pretty soon it'll dry out and they can get back to work. I chose Cypress for our pergola because of the beauty of it, but primarily because of the durability. These are gigantic 12-inch by 12-inch Cypress columns, and they were grown right here in the South. And I always love to use products that are close. Saves down on the carbon footprint for us. Another great thing about Cypress is that it has its own built-in chemical. It's called cypressine, and what it does is it makes the wood really expel insects and wood rot. It's a really natural chemical, and I love that as well. It's not like the products that you might use that have to be pressure treated, so it was a good choice for the project. The other thing that I like about it is that it's going to really last. Here's a little pop question for you. What does Noah's Ark and St. Peter's Basilica have in common? Well, rumor is they were both made out of cypress. It's said that when they tore down St. Peter's doors, They were built over 1,100 years ago. So I think for our project house pergola, it's going to be here for quite a while. Another thing that I love about using Cypress is you can choose to paint it, stain it, or you can leave it alone and let it just age to a beautiful ash gray all on its own. But for me, you know I'm impatient. I think I'm going to pick out a great stain for it. Come on. When it comes to selecting the color of paint or stain you want, you always want to try it on the actual materials or the actual location that you're trying to cover. Now, I waited till I had a sample of the Cypress. Got one right here. It wasn't easy. It was pretty wet out here today, but got this one for us to try out some stains on. That's one of the nice things about Cypress. Now, you can either leave it and let it just age to a beautiful gray, but I'm going to speed up that process by using a gray stain. So I took the gray that we used on the kitchen cabinets inside, and I went to the paint store and I had them mix up a stain for us. And because the pergola, the little one we're building at the end of the street, and the one up at the house are going to be visual, or you're going to be able to see those at the same time you see the new garage door. Now, this is not the new garage door, obviously, but because you can see all of those at the same time, I want to make sure that all the paints match, or all the colors match. We're working with Cypress, we're working with the garage door, different materials, different paints. So this is why we're testing them right here. Okay, this is the stain that we have for the pergola. And because this is rough sawn, see that great wood grain that you see on that? Okay. And if you're going to put on more than one coat of your stain, then you want to be sure that you do the second coat while the first one's still wet. And if you ever have questions about how to finish wood or do any painting, always ask your paint professionals at your paint store. I like to go to a little small independent paint store. They're always great with a lot of knowledge. Okay, so I'm going to let that go on there and I'm going to let it dry. And I know that's dense enough for me. So I'll let that dry before I make my choices. Now, for the garage door. Totally different paint. This is an exterior paint that we're using, but we had it mixed to match up the same colors we were working with before. And this is the old garage door. When the new one gets delivered, it's going to have to be painted. So this is a great time for me to try this out. You know, a lot of people make such a mistake when they're picking out paint. They go right ahead and, you know, go do the whole project and then go, gee, I don't like that color. Always test it. And this garage door is in direct western sun. So that means the color is going to be different in the morning and then in the afternoon. So you want to put it on and then allow yourself to look at it all through the day. That way you're going to be sure that you like the color. And paint a big enough spot you can really tell what it's going to look like. Okay. All right. Okay, that ought to be enough to let us see what it's going to look like. I'm going to let this dry completely, and then I'm going to let the stain soak into our Cypress. While that's happening, I'm going to go around to the front and see how David and his landscape crew are coping with this flash shower that just came through here. You know, we've been talking today about some of the ways you can solve issues on a construction site. Well, it just keeps on coming. The rain shower that blew through here not only sent our pergola crew, you know, to the garage, our landscape guys, well, they're a little hardier. They're staying out here working. David got stuck across town, but the rain made it really muddy. So I've always wanted to run one of these machines. I'm thinking, why not? David's not here. I'll put on my boots and I'll jump out here and see if I can be any assistance. Only kidding. These guys wouldn't let an amateur like me get anywhere close to this project. Here's what they're trying to do. In the front yard here, we've got a very narrow front yard. There's a brick wall, and right on the other side of that is all the traffic. You can probably hear them going back and forth. This is in an urban setting, okay? We also have these giant magnolias and old holly trees that we're going to keep because that does help bury down some of the sound. But because these trees are so old, the roots have come way up out of the ground, and we had a lot of erosion up here to begin with. So we've got roots, some of them this big, they're laying on top of the grass. There's no way we could landscape around that. So David came up with a great solution, and that is do raised beds. So they're going to be building a retaining wall that's going to come around this side of the front yard and on the other side of the sidewalk as well, leveling up these two paths on each side. That's going to be a great opportunity for us to introduce some artificial turf in those areas, and then it'll make this front yard like maintenance-free. We'll put a few foundation plantings of some shrubs up next to the house, and we'll put an irrigation drip system there. Pretty well take care of itself. You know, there's always a solution if you just look at what the problem is, get some talented guys like the guys who really run this machine, not me, and a good architect who's designing things for you, and you can turn any problem yard into a real success story. Now, I think I better get out of here before David shows up, because he's not going to be happy about seeing an unlicensed operator in his equipment. I give you these little tips because I've learned the hard way. Now that my paint and stain has dried, one I love, this is a winner. The one that I used on the Cypress, don't like it. It's too solid. I want a more translucent look for this beautiful Cypress. So I'm going to make that switch before the boys get busy staining the big pergola. Do you want to know more about the projects today or our guests? Visit us on the web. You're going to find great behind-the-scenes shots, streaming video, project ideas. We even have an e-newsletter with tips and ideas. It's foryourhome.com. Every week, this house comes closer and closer to completion. I hope you're enjoying the process, and you'll make it a date to join us all right back here for another episode of For Your Home. I'm going to run around to the front and see how David and his crew are coping with all this flash snowstorm. This is Jeff Hawks, and Jeff is with Pond, and he's here today.
Hawk.
What, Hawks with an S?
Hawk.
Okay.
Singular.
Just one hawk. She has helped so many of my projects over the year. Jennifer, excuse me, let's start over. Jennifer. What has in common with flow through? Kind of made a medi muss.